Здравствуйте! И мы продолжаем наши встречи с замечательными людьми. И сегодня у нас в гостях Нана Nauwald, которая живет...
She's very happy to greet you here in the studio, and she wants our listeners to get to know you and know the felicitas and the practice that you are the master of. So we are happy to greet you here in the studio.
And I'm very happy to be here, and thank you a lot for your open hearts, your open minds, and I can give some inspiration to you, maybe to make your life with more joy, with more health. But this doesn't mean you will know anything about me.
А мы все-таки постараемся узнать.
And we shall try to learn it, to dive into it.
И первое, о чем я...
You have been researching the shamanic ways in different areas in different countries, in Siberia, in Chile, in Peru, and you are the head of the institute after Felicitas Goodman on trance postures and ecstatic trance in Germany and in other European countries, and you're welcome to tell us about that.
To tell us about this. What shall I tell? As long as I live, honestly since childhood, I always wanted to know what's behind this so-called ordinary reality. I wanted to know what the trees are telling to me, or especially the birds. And so it was a long life way. I don't know if I shall tell anything, but this life way did lead me into indigenous cultures. And now for this long time, for 33 or 34 years, I got the present to be able to learn from them in different cultures. And the longer I do learn, the less I know in a special way here. And the longer I do learn, I know we shouldn't name ourselves shamans because we don't live in a shamanic society, either here in Russia, not in Europe, but we can learn from them. And then, and this is my inspiring wish, to find our own ways with the help of these people who mostly until today live in the direct contact with the inner and the outer nature and live in a real spiritual world, not only on Sunday at 10 o'clock, but really in daily life. And I can't imitate this, but I can learn from this. And so I learned during this time to find my own old roots from European cultures and to let new leaves build up out of these old roots. And yes, this makes my life, especially as an artist, colorful and joyful. And I found some ways to help people to get in the inner contact with their real inner essence through a special method, and these are the ritual trance postures. And I honestly like to give people this present from this anthropologist, Dr. Felicitas Goodman, because you don't have to believe anything, you don't need a guru, there is no dogma, you only have to stay in contact with your inner being, and you only have to be open that something may touch you. That's all.
Могу ли я спросить, вот если Фелисита...
Who was your first guide into this shamanic area? Was it Felicitas, or was there some other master or teacher who showed you the way into in shamanic ritual practices?
Yes, long before Felicitas, I did learn with some real shamans, curandero, from the coast in Peru. And this was the most important for me. And I also did learn from some indigenous people in the US. Mm-hmm. But I was looking for a real wise woman. I thought all this space mostly is occupied by men. I would like to know a scientist, an anthropologist, a woman who is working in this field. I think the most important for my life way is that I grew up in a so-called poor family of refugees. My father was an artist, and so as children we had to go out into the forest to collect something to eat. And so I learned from my old aunt. She honestly did sing with the birds, and she did call the mushrooms, and so I was very close always to the spirit of nature.
Интересно тогда, те дети, которые были...
Anna wants to know, when you were a child, you said that you and some children went into the forest, and she wants to know, did you realize that it was your personal way that you have chosen, listening to the songs and connecting to the spirits of the forest? How did the other children react? Did they pay attention? Did this connection influence their destiny and their lives?
I think in this time, children without cell phone, without internet, growing up in a village, they did feel the same.
И это повлияло на всю жизнь.
And did it influence their whole lives?
Yes.
Da.
Yes. And also we did learn really from early childhood to go alone in the forest, not with mama or papa, but really we could stay away from home for many hours, and it was okay.
Спасибо. Я знаю о том,
что... speaks about your Peru family, that you patronize to some extent the family in Peru, and you are closely connected to it. Why is it important?
You see, before I came to Peru, I've been in Brazil. And so I got the smell of the jungle. And as I normally travel alone and asking taxi driver and everyone, where do you go if you need help? So I came into this village. And how to say, after 6 years when I stood in the village, the old real shaman, he can't read, he doesn't speak real Spanish. After 6 years he did tell me, now we can trust in you, because mostly only tourists come for some weeks. And so I started really to live with them. I did sleep with them on the floor without mattress. I did mostly eat what they did eat, beside monkeys, as I didn't eat, and I didn't like snakes. But I wanted to know how this old man did once ask me, what do you know about my spirit reality if you don't know anything about my daily reality?
The shamanic ways that you have studied in Siberia, in Chile, in Peru, in Nepal, are these shamanic ways different? How do you feel?
in the rituals, they are in one way different if you look from the outside.
В ритуалах они действительно отличаются, сама форма ритуалов действительно отличается, если смотреть на эти ритуалы извне.
But they all have the same center.
Но все эти шаманские формы имеют единый центр, единую суть.
It's to get into a special, also in an altered state, in connecting with the spirits and with the songs. The songs, in a way, are the most important tool for changing situations and create health.
Про звук я очень много слышала.
We have been speaking a lot about this, the influence of the sound, right? And Allah wants to know your way. How did you find your connection with the sound, with your connection with the birds, with the sound they produce, with the sound of the nature? How did you come to it? How did you feel it actually? Was there any situation or happening in life?
No special happening. I nearly every day go into the forest where I live in the countryside. I do nothing else than to listen and maybe to remind in our old tradition. So in the northern part of Europe, it has been the women who went into the forest under a tree with leaves, and they did cover their head that nothing from outside could attack them, and out of the sound of the leaves they did tell the truth, the fortune, the oracle. And later, especially with the work and the life with Dr. Felicitas Goodman, the rattle got very important. And the drum.
То есть это такие важные моменты.
Allah asks, it is an important happening when we receive special instruments that produce special rhythms and sounds and music.
Yes, and remember, the eldest rattles archaeologists did find are about 40,000 years before Christ. And also drums. We have worldwide lots of drums found from ancient time. So where I live, near my village, there are old graves around 5,000-6,000 before Christ, and they did find drums made out of clay in it. And I don't think they did use these drums in the graves to make discotheque. I think even some thousand years ago they knew that a special rhythm and a special sound changed something in this brain from people and in the body, yeah.
А можно ли послушать тот звук, который
Use the sound with the help of the rattle and with the help of the drum, so as to give us an impression what kind of a sound transforms our brain into this altered state.
Yes, I like to do this. But we also have to remind that to get in a trance posture, we not only need the right rhythm of 210 beats per minute or until 240, we also need a special posture with the game of tension and no tension, very special postures.
Раз уж мы сразу про...
Would you produce the rhythm?
Yes, with pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome.
И шаман его чувствует сам.
Do you feel yourself when you rattle? Does your body feel it?
Yes, it's really work when I rattle or drum for other people that I don't change my waves, because I also have to take one eye to the people. But if I do it for myself, I change. I get hot. For me, it's important to add, I'm not a shaman. And only to drum or to rattle doesn't mean that anyone is a shaman. There only exist shamans in society where the society does live in this world view of shamanism. In these times, with all this so-called shamanic stuff, we should have more respect for the indigenous cultures who really live in shamanism. I always say there wouldn't be a Papa, a Pope, if there wouldn't be people believing in Catholic Church. We don't live in shamanic societies, but we can do healthful work.
Вдохновляет этот звук.
It is inspiring analysis.
And for me, after such a long life, walking through this altered states, not only in shamanism, it's important for me to say, I know many people don't like it, but this is reality. Who herself or himself in our cultures name herself, himself, shaman, stuck in an ego state. You steal the code of real shamans and produce mostly a theater. Isn't it enough if you do healthful work without taking the real codes of real shamans and put it on you? Then you're stuck in an ego state. Work with this, but have more respect also for this shamanism, please.
Как вы себя называете? Вот ваша...
I'll ask about the ecstatic trance technique, and where has it come from, the name ecstatic trance, and how do we call ourselves, those who practice this technique?
Felicitas Goodman herself, after her research, did name it ritual body postures which lead in the state of ecstatic trance. Because this ecstatic means it's a state of joy and to feel yourself like whole. You are not parts of something, and this we also know from other cultures, to get in this ecstatic trance through sound, through rhythm, sometimes also through movement, to be really connected with your sparkling, bright inner self as a part of all. And I myself, I'm only a reminder through my work to teach people. I like to remind everyone on your own inner wisdom, not to stick on gurus, not on dogmas, but really find an entrance to your own inner wisdom. And this also always has to do to be responsible for community. It's not to be like an ego in this way. The more and more you go this way, the more you know. For me, spirituality is also to be aware of this web of life where I'm a part and to be responsible.
Я знаю, что Нана является руководителем Института Фелиситас Гудман в Германии.
Al wants to know, so you are the head of the Institute of Trance Postures in Germany, and Felicitas, so to say, directed this position to you to some extent. And what was actually the question? The question was, what do you do in this institute? What is your role? And do you receive ecstatic joy from this process?
Ecstatic joy?
Yes.
I receive when I'm drumming, when I'm rattling, or when I'm in a posture, or sometimes when I'm alone in the forest. And I'm not the only one. We are a board of directors, 3 people for the whole work in Germany and also Austria. And what to say? We support people, we train people that they may lead themselves seminars. We do a lot of research, which you also can find in this book, which came out now in a new edition with a huge work from the Russian Felicitas Gudmet Institute, and especially from Lena Rychnikova. And maybe I didn't pronounce the name right, but Lena did a great work. And so also we brought out the first time in Russia the book from Felicitas, where she tells her way, how to find this. And she was a woman, she was very, with a lot of doubts, and she really also wanted to experience by herself, not to read about it in books and to listen to other people. No, she said, and this for me it's the same, the only thing we really learn is through our own experiences. I have to bring myself in this position, in this moment, that I get rid of all ordinary thoughts, rid of the normal ordinary world, and that I'm really open that something may receive, may touch me, which will be helpful for me. So very simple. And so it's like they say in Nepalese, Kirati, shamanic rituals, in the preparation, they say, here I am, I am Nana. So all my good helpers in the spiritual world, come here, help me, protect me, support me. This I do.
Можно ли сказать, что ритуал связан с...
Can we say that the process of the ritual helps to make the ideas receive a form of some kind?
Yeah.
Like as if we practice something to believe in it much more.
Yes.
To believe it happening.
Yes. But we don't have to believe. And it includes all our senses. This is important.
И поза – это некая фигурка,
The posture found in some place and has we understand that it holds a special position of the body. But how was it? How did you understand while researching the statue, or maybe some other drawings, petroglyphs? How did you understand what type of energy this position produces?
You must do it. You must explore it yourself.
Просто опытом, да.
Yes, yes. The most important thing is we have to see the head. You never can't explore a trance posture when the statue doesn't have a head. We have to see the head. And I never take postures from sculptures from living societies which are still living in the spiritual world. This with respect.
Yeah.
And maybe because the whole time I have these bushes here, that you don't think I'm a witch. No. And I'm not going to clean your floor. It's only an example that you can really do healthful work with very simple things like this grass, and also with a rhythm. And once I've been with Felicitas on a conference, and a woman urgently asked for help, and sitting in the hotel room we didn't have the rattle, we didn't have the drum. So then Felicitas took a normal writing stick and this of Coca-Cola, and on this it works. And maybe to add, because I always have the power and the wisdom of bear inside of me, of a jaguar, of all these, because, and this is what I like, that the old traditions didn't know anything about our kind of science, and today we know that all life information is stored in the bones, also in your teeth. I love it. To really to see now how intelligent they have been without our kind of scientists. And please, I have to add a for me, very important thing. For long years, I also did take the help of psychoactive plants, and I'm grateful for this. But I always thought I would like to have the same experience without any help of any drug plant. And therefore, I love still to work with these ritual body postures, because I get sometimes in the same alternate states without taking, drinking, smoking, and I like to be independent.
Как она относится к тому, что используется?
What's your attitude when the people use special drugs to reach this alternate state, which are used, for example, in Latin America or in any other countries?
It can be like the first steps really to experience that they are alternate states, that we are, I call it a multiverse, we are not universe, we have lots of different spaces also inside of us, and this can be a good helper for the first steps. I think it's also good then to go forward and not to depend on something, but to learn that your body is an orchestra and has all ability inside of it to change your consciousness state. These are helpers, the plants, yes. Like this old real shaman in my village, he said once, do you like to watch like TV, nice pictures, or do you like to learn something? If you really like to learn something, it takes time, and you also have to learn to be able to change your consciousness state without any influence than with songs, with sound.
Nana, я знаю, что вы учились.
Knows that you are an artist, and your pictures are very unusual. And what was the most interesting thing that you have brought these 3D glasses, and when you look through these glasses on your pictures, it produces an splendid effect. It produces an unusual effect, and she wants to know How did you learn to paint that way? Is it possible to explain? And your looks, the dress that you wear, it also resembles your pictures.
When I paint, I'm really in an altered state, without nothing, nothing else.
Когда она рисует, она находится в альтернативном состоянии сознания, не используя ничего.
And I paint always on a black canvas, because for me, black is the source of the universe and of every life.
Она всегда рисует на черном фоне, потому что для нее черный фон – это всегда источник всего, всей Вселенной.
And I see the painting without any help of plants or without drumming. They grow up here. And one day I see them and then I start to paint. And sometimes it's really work to wait until the painting is ready to be seen. But what for me is important, through my paintings, I'm diving, I want to express and I want to know what is really the essence of life, of every plant, of animals, of myself, what is like the essence. Therefore they get like microscopes sometimes. And so I paint like in the old ways, the really old masters have been painting. I take pigments, this powder, and mix it with acrylic emulsion, and I paint layer after layer, not only red and blue, but a dark blue and a lighter blue, so that the color gets a body. This takes a lot of time.
Можно ли сказать, что сначала она что-то...
Do you experience something inside or feel something special inside before you draw? Or does it come spontaneously?
It's not spontaneously. First it's work like inside to know the painting. And when I paint, I'm highly concentrated and I stop thinking. Yeah, therefore I can't listen to music when I'm painting, then I start to think again.
А долго, сколько времени уходит на одну картину?
Does it take long to be so concentrated and to work on a picture?
Yeah, I think a picture like this, 5-6 weeks, and I can't paint every day. But when I paint, I sit for hours and hours and hours, for long hours.
Это очень интересно. Я знаю, что вы будете делать выставку. Мы хотим сделать выставку.
It's very interesting, and Allah knows that you are going to have an exhibition of your paintings.
Yes, but not here in Moscow. I would like.
Она бы хотела.
Nana, я вас благодарю за то.
Allah thanks you for this wonderful story. But there is another question. If you look at your life from the outside, is there anything that you would like to change?
Nothing.
Нет, ничего.
Можно ли сказать, что вы...
And can we say that your nature is ecstatic by its essence, and you are fulfilling with your life, with your practical life, this kind of a feeling of ecstatic condition inside of you?
In a way, yes. And I'm curious. I want to know.
В каком-то смысле да, но дело в том, что я любопытна. Я очень хочу многое знать.
So this is a mixture between aesthetic being and scientist.
Я еще раз благодарю за то, что вы
And Allah is very thankful to you that you have come and you have shared this very valuable information. And this is not the last meeting, and Allah hopes that you will come again and share more about your life and your experience and your practices.
Thanks, because I love to come here and I appreciate and I have a lot of respect for all these people here around who always try to open heart and mind, to be open for new view, for new ways, and therefore I love to come here and to stay with you all and to learn from you. That's it.
Я еще раз благодарю нас.
Спасибо, Алла.
Спасибо.
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 Спасибо большое.
Ты también.